A big policy change in D.C., a high-stakes map fight in California, and a breakdown of the industries powering America. And here's Friday's trivia question. What city's sports teams all share the same primary colors? I know the answer. Do you? It's Friday, August 15th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. It's Friday. I know a lot of kids have already gone back to school. Parents, how are you feeling? Relieved? Tired, energized? My kids are actually too young for school, but I already know I'm going to be a mess once they go off for the first time and say, "Bye, Mom." Anyways, let's take off with the biggest stories of the day. D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith has overturned years of sanctuary city policy by authorizing officers to share information and transport detainees for ICE. This sharp shift comes as President Trump's 30-day federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department is underway, and it led to 29 immigration-related arrests in just one night, sparking concern among immigrant advocates about eroded community trust and public safety. Next, Governor Gavin Newsom has launched a plan for a November 4th special election to adopt a new congressional map, granting Democrats 5 additional U.S. House seats. The move is a direct counter to GOP-backed redistricting push in Texas, and though it's framed as a defense of democracy, it faces criticism from voters who value California's independent commission and may raise major legal and political arms. And lastly, new data shows what drives each state's economy. Are you ready for it? Real estate dominates the economy in 26 states, especially those along the coasts, while manufacturing leads in 13 others across the Midwest and South. Finance and insurance top the charts in just 4 states, with mining holding ground in 3. In D.C. and Oklahoma, government is clearly the dominant economic player. But do you want to see where your state lands? We've provided the full list in the show notes below. Here are your top political headlines. President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin today at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska. The summit will begin with a private conversation, just the 2 leaders and translators, around 11:30 a.m. Alaska time, followed by a working lunch with top officials and a joint press conference. The main focus, advancing talks toward peace in Ukraine, though this isn't expected to be a final agreement. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will begin rolling out conspicuously branded dark blue SUVs with bold yellow ICE lettering and the phrase, "Defend the Homeland." The move, funded by the One Big Beautiful Bill, aims to make ICE more visible, but agents warned the aggressive branding could make them targets amid rising attacks on enforcement vehicles. And President Trump marked the 90th anniversary of Social Security with a proclamation and spotlighted the new One Big Beautiful Bill, which includes a temporary $6,000 tax deduction for Americans aged 65 and older starting this year. It's designed to give seniors a financial boost and shine a light on the expanded retirement support under the current administration. And lastly, Hunter Biden has refused to retract or apologize for his Epstein-related remarks, even as First Lady Melania Trump threatens a $1 billion defamation lawsuit. He dismissed the threat outright, showing he has no intention of backing down. Today's episode is brought to you by Native Path Collagen, something I use every single day. I actually really enjoy it and I love the results. And if you're watching right now, you're probably seeing that my hair has grown so lusciously. And ever since having my baby, I'm sure you know, ladies, your hair starts to fall out. But mine has grown exponentially since using Native Path Collagen. And what I like about it, it's made with one ingredient. pure hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Now, that part is very important. There's no fillers, no artificial sweeteners, no additives, just type 1 and 3 collagen, which actually make up about 90% of the collagen in your body. It's third-party tested for heavy metals, so you know it's safe, and it's completely flavorless. Over 4 million jars have sold, 8,000 five-star reviews, and the best part, 365-day no-risk guarantee. So if you want hair like mine and you've been curious, now's the time to try it for yourself. Go to getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover or click the link in the show notes below. Here are some bonus stories just for listeners of the Flyover podcast that you're not going to find in the email edition. A U.S. Justice Department employee in Washington, D.C. has been fired and charged with a felony after allegedly throwing a Subway sandwich at a federal border agent on August 11th. Attorney General Pam Bondi said 37-year-old Sean Charles Dunn's actions were, quote, an example of the deep state. The incident caught on video drew sharp criticism from federal officers who stressed their support for law enforcement. Next, South Korea's Supreme Court has ruled against a $21,600 copyright claim over the viral Baby Shark song. I promise I won't sing it. U.S. composer Jonathan Wright argued the 2015 Pink Fong hit copied his 2011 version, but the court said his arrangement wasn't original enough for protection, noting both songs come from a long-standing children's camp melody that's in the public domain. Pink Fong says the decision confirms the song's folk origins. Its video has over 16 billion YouTube views. Oh my goodness. And lastly, after 66 years, the remains of British Antarctic researcher Dennis Tink Bell have been found on King George Island. Bell disappeared in 1959 after falling into a crevice while leading sled dogs during a survey mission. The receding glacier revealed his body and more than 200 personal items earlier this year. DNA testing confirmed his identity, bringing long-awaited closure to his family and reminding the world of the risks early polar explorers faced. Coming up, there's a rare opportunity for one of the tennis's greatest players of all time. I will fill you in. In finance, wholesale producer prices, basically the prices businesses pay each other, jumped 0.9% in July compared to June. That's way above the 0.2% economists were expecting, suggesting some cost pressures are still hanging around in the supply chain. Ulta Beauty and Target are breaking up their retail partnership. Breakup. The deal that put Ulta mini beauty shops inside more than 600 Target stores will officially wrap up next year, ending a nice 4-year run. And Kellogg's has signed a first-of-its-kind agreement with Texas to remove artificial food dyes from its cereals by the end of 2027. It's a legally binding move aimed at addressing concerns over things like artificial food dyes. That's fantastic. Here's your stock market update. The markets were mostly flat Thursday. The Nasdaq dipped just 0.01%. The S&P 500 added a slight 0.03%, and the Dow slipped 0.02%. Bitcoin fell more than 4% to about $118,162, while gold rose nearly 0.7% to $3,382 an ounce. The big stock move of the day? TeraWulf shares soared almost 60% after the data center company announced a multi-billion-dollar deal to supply up to 200 megawatts of computing power to an AI cloud provider. Here's your sports news. The NBA has dropped its full schedule for the 2025-26 season, and every single team will have at least 2 nationally televised games. The regular season wraps up April 12th, setting the stage for the playoffs. Moving over to football, the Dallas Cowboys have once again topped Sportico's list of most valuable NFL teams, valued at $12.8 billion. The LA Rams are in second place at $10.43 billion, highlighting just how big the NFL brand has become. Who's in last place? I know you're all wondering. the Cincinnati Bengals, valued at $5.5 billion. Where does your favorite team land? My Patriots came in fourth, but you can see the full list in the show notes. And tennis legend Venus Williams, now 45 years old, has received a wild card entry into this month's U.S. Open. That makes her the oldest player to compete in the tournament since 1981, a rare return to the spotlight for one of the sport's most iconic figures. Yes. Still to come, those who are fans of Krispy Kreme and Harry Potter, there is a match made in heaven, and it is coming your way. In science and technology, Swiss adventurer Raphael Damjan just set a new record for solar-powered flight, taking his Solar Stratos plane up to 31,237 feet over Switzerland. The altitude beats a record that stood for 15 years, and it's part of his push to show the potential of clean aviation technology. And Apple is bringing blood oxygen monitoring back to some of its newer Apple Watches in the U.S., but with a twist. The readings will now happen on a paired iPhone instead of directly on the watch. The change helps Apple navigate an ongoing patent dispute that had forced the feature's removal earlier this year. Here are some fun Friday stories to wrap up the week. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham are giving fans a throwback treat. On September 19th, they'll release a remastered version of their 1973 Buckingham Nicks album. It's the first time the record's been available digitally, complete with enhanced sound. I can't wait to listen to that. And Krispy Kreme is bringing a little Hogwarts magic to its stores with a Harry Potter-inspired donut lineup starting Monday, August 18th. And if you show your Hogwarts pride in store on Saturday, August 23rd, you can score a free original glazed donut. You're welcome for that tidbit. And lastly, police in England. Oh, wait, no, it's not the last. We still have more. Police in England spent a month running a sting operation where female officers posed as joggers in tight workout gear to catch catcallers. The effort led to 18 arrests for harassment, assault, and theft. And a man helping his girlfriend sort through her old stuff stumbled on her preschool class photo, only, get this, to spot himself sitting right next to her in the photo. The childhood coincidence is now making the rounds online, and you can see this cute story and the photo in today's show notes. All right, are you ready for the poll results from yesterday's question? Here's the question. Would you order perishable food items from Amazon? 44% of you said strong no. 39% said I prefer to choose my own. And 17% said yeah. Here's the poll question for today. Which phobia do you have? Heights? Public speaking? Spiders? Enclosed spaces? None? Or something else? And by the way, if it is other, then feel free to leave it in the comments section. I would love to hear what other phobias you have. Because a couple weeks ago, we talked about the phobia of chickens. Okay, so maybe you have that. I would have to say for me, it's heights. I don't like Ferris wheels. I don't like looking over the glass balconies at the malls. I definitely don't like the nosebleeds when you're in the last row at a football stadium. So it's heights for me, which kind of stinks because I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm very tall. What about you? I'll read the answers in tomorrow's show. Actually, Amy Hess will read the answers in tomorrow's show because tomorrow is Saturday. What am I thinking? You can vote in the show notes below. Yeah, I'm kind of silly today. I'm not sure what's going on, but it is Friday, which means today's trivia question is pretty fun. What city's sports teams all share the same primary colors? My brain instantly knew the answer to this, and I wonder if yours did too. The answer? Pittsburgh. It's the only major U.S. city where all the pro teams rock the same colors, black and gold. Now that's the Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates, all matching the city's flag. That's going to do it for today's podcast on a Friday. Now that you've watched me deliver the headlines, pop on over to Amy Hess's Feel Good Friday. Feel Good Flyover, excuse me. She's going to give you the stories that make you feel positive and good inside, and she'll be with you throughout the entire weekend. Thank you for watching, listening, sharing, and rating the show. I will see you bright and early on Monday morning. Have an incredible weekend. Thanks for flying with us.